Hello, I have a book called Bats. Bats. It's an eyes on nature book, and I already see lots of bats. Here's the front cover, here's the back cover. More bats. What letter is that? B, 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 ba, a, a. Bat, t, t, bats, bats. That's the name. Ooh, so many. Bats, written by Celia Bland. What's that bat doing? Going batty. Tonight, step outside into the darkness. Do you hear the flap? Flap of unseen wings? Are small shapes flitting among the trees? You have caught a glimpse of the most fantastic night flyers of the natural world, bats. Is it a bird? Ancient people thought bats were featherless birds. Now we know that bats, like humans, are mammals. You see that one? This one is not a bat. This is a flying squirrel. So this is another mammal. Mammals are warm-blooded, so bats are warm-blooded, and they nurse their babies. But unlike humans, bats can fly. Here's a flying bat. The spotted bat has a black and white coat. So here's the spotted bat. Do you see the black and white? Pink wings and enormous pink ears. Those are huge pink ears. Do you see those? Mammals have fur, and bats are no exception. Those that roost outside have longer hair than those that roost in caves. Like cats, bats clean their fur using their tongue and claws. So here's all this fur. They clean it with their tongue and their claws, get it clean. Although many bats are brown or gray, others are yellow, orange, white, or red. Some are so brightly colored, they're known as butterfly bats. Fossil evidence shows that bats have been around for at least 50 million years. Here's a fossil of a bat. Just like they find dinosaur fossils, they found fossils of other animals, so very old bats. Some scientists think bats have been around even longer. Wow, bats may have swooped around the huge heads of the dinosaurs 60 million years ago. The smallest bat in North America, the pipistrelle, measures 2.5 inches and fits neatly into a walnut shell. This bat is sitting inside a nut shell. So little. It's like this little bat. The smallest bat is the smallest of all mammals. Thailand's bumblebee bat, which weighs less than a penny. Wow, you know a penny? Let me get a penny. I think I have one down here. Here's a penny. It's pretty small and it doesn't weigh very much. It's very light. So the smallest bat in the whole world, the bumblebee bat, is even lighter than this. Wow, that's very light. The largest bats are the flying foxes of Asia, some of which have a wingspan of 6 feet, about the length of a surfboard. Their body is about 1.5 feet long. So 6 feet is longer than my whole body. I'm less than 6 feet. Maybe some of your parents are 6 feet tall. You could ask them. That's how long the wings are of the biggest bat. Many people think that bats are blind. In fact, bats see well in dim light. Other bats see less well, but all bats have other strong senses that help them find food in the dark and help them navigate when flying. A bat's teeth. A bat's teeth and the shape of its mouth are adapted to the type of food it eats. Fruit bats have large, flat teeth for grinding pulpy fruit. Insect eaters have jagged teeth in their cheeks that can slice and grind an insect's hard outsides. You may think of bats as bloodsuckers, but in the real bat world, they might eat fruit, leaves, pollen, cacti. This looks like a bat eating a cacti or a cactus. Insects, frogs, fish, spiders, lizards, and other bats. Bats are actually categorized into two groups, the large fruit-eating megabats and the smaller microbats, most of which eat insects. You can find bats throughout most of the world, in forests, deserts, jungles, and in your own backyard. There are close to 1,000 different species, so 1,000 different kinds of bats. With so many different varieties, it only seems logical that some bats would look a little more unusual than others. Little brown bats may be the most common bats in the US and Canada. So where we live right now, if you're still in the United States, if you live in Minnesota, this is the most common bat, the brown bat. Covered with thick brown fur, the little brown bat weighs only 1/4 ounce, so it's very light. It often shares its roost with the big brown bat near a river, marsh, or lake. There it catches as many as 1,200 night-flying insects in one night. Here's the Gothic bat. At the tip of his nose is a long sword, almost as long as the bat's ears. So that's this. It's on its nose. These bats are found in tunnels and other structures in South and Central America. The award for the best bat hairdo most certainly goes to Chapin's free-tailed bat. Look at that bat's hair. Right up here. This African dweller sports a two-colored crest on top of its head. Like male bats of many species, a male Chapin's bat has scent glands that are used to attract females. The crest helps spread the female's perfume. So that hair on the top of its head helps to give off a smell so that other bats can smell it. There are some strange-looking bats flying around out there. The horseshoe bat, named for its U-shaped nose, is one of Europe's most common bats. It is so small, it can fit inside a matchbox. So that's a little box like can fit inside. The lobed forehead bat from South America has a spooky looking face. Not all bats are scary looking. Some megabats are called flying foxes because they have narrow fox-like snouts, pointed ears like a fox, and a furry brown coat. These two bats look very different from each other. Flying is one of the most fantastic things that bats do. Bats use their wings like a swimmer, doing the butterfly stroke. Made of 2 layers of skin stretched over light bones, the wings carry a bat's small, light body easily and quickly through the air. Lots of bats are flying in the air in this picture here. Bats use their wings for more than just flying. Some can bend them into basket shapes to catch and hold their prey. Others fold their wings to hold insects or fruit with their wing claws. This bat is holding this fruit with its wings. It's a good thing that bats can fly so well. They have legs, but they're not very skillful at walking. Walking is tough for them. Bat wings stretch down the side of a bat's body and partway down their legs. A wing membrane sometimes joins the tail to the wings. Bat wings are thin, tough, and stretchy. The skin is so thin you can see the blood moving through the blood vessels. Oh, can we see our blood when it's inside our body? Only a little bit with the color, but you can see the bats because their wings are so thin. Bats like to drink on the wing. They fly over streams or ponds, slurping up water from mid-air. If they fly too low, they go swimming, using their wings as paddles to push themselves through the water. Oh, look at that bat. On their wings, bats have a thumb and 4 long jointed fingers that are enormous compared to the size of their body. If you were a bat, your fingers would be longer than your legs. Oh, for how little they are, they have really big fingers. Bats also have hooked claws on their wings and toes, which help them hang by their feet and climb along a wall or a tree trunk. Do you think you could climb the wall if you had little claws on you? If you could go, if you had claws on a wing, maybe you could climb up like that. And look, they're hanging. This one is hanging upside down. Uses the claws on their feet. claws on their wings and claws on their toes. To leave their roosts, they simply fall. They just let go and they fall down, and then they start flying. They flap their wings and fly. Mexican free-tailed bats are just one of 80 kinds of free-tailed microbats. They can fly 10,000 feet above the ground, reach speeds of 60 miles per hour, as fast as a car, and as high up in the air as an airplane. Megabats may be bigger in size, but microbats rule when it comes to numbers. There are 750 species of microbats. They are found on every continent except Antarctica, and in every landscape except the hottest deserts and the coldest polar regions. So there are lots of them, and they live almost everywhere on Earth. Bat scientists use a device called a bat detector to change high-pitched bat calls so that people can hear them. So they have a machine that changes their really, really high sounds so that our ears can hear them, because our ears can't hear every sound that a bat makes. This machine can help locate and sometimes even identify bats in caves or other dark habitats. Microbats have a particular talent for seeing with their ears. It's called echolocation. So they make a sound, they fly with their mouths open and make a really high sound, and that sound, in this picture, they made it look like something, but really you can't see it. If you're just looking, you can just hear it. This is the sound, and it bounces off of things. So the sound hits this, bounce, and it bounces back. The echo comes back. If the echo comes back quickly, really fast, that means that it's close. If it goes, ah, and that loud sound comes back and they hear it again really fast, that's how they know it's close. But if it takes a long time to come back, that means that they're far away from their sound. And they have big ears too. Look at those big ears to help them to hear when that sound comes back to them. The false vampire bat's huge ears are better to hear with. Many bats can tell the direction and speed of flying insects just by listening. They can just listen and hear how fast a bug is going. Can you hear a bug? Just how fast it's flying? This helps them find food in total darkness, so they can find those bugs and eat them when it's dark outside at night. California leaf-nosed bats, which live in the lowland desert areas of the western US and Mexico, can find bugs by listening for their footsteps or wing beats. They can even hear the sound of a cricket hopping. We can hear crickets when they make chirping noises, but I cannot hear a cricket when it jumps. It's so quiet. But some bats can. Look at this bat. Oh, unlike many other microbats, the horseshoe bat sends ultrasounds through its nose. It makes those high sounds out of its nose. Look at the nose. Some bats have folds of skin around their nostrils. Remember, nostrils are the holes in your nose? They have skin around there. These are called nose leaves. Scientists believe that nose leaves help with the process of echolocation by aiming a bat's sound waves in different directions. They can put the sound all over the place and hear where the bugs are or other things are. Megabats hang out in warm areas, particularly near the equator. 150 species live in Africa, India, Southeast Asia, the East Indies, and Australia. They eat fruit and flower nectar, which is plentiful year-round in tropical climates. So because these ones eat fruit, they need to be in warm places, because that's where the fruit is all the time. Unlike microbats, most megabats cannot echolocate. Notice how small their ears are. So they don't do that thing where they make the sound and then listen for it to come back. Their large eyes, which can see very well, and their sense of smell help them find the fruit at night. The nostrils of tube-nosed megabats open at the ends of short tubes. This bat has tubes on its nostrils, the holes in its nose. The bats stick these tube-like snouts deep into the sweet-smelling flowers and suck up a tasty meal of nectar. They drink the nectar through their nose. When flying foxes roost in the branches of large trees, they wrap their huge wings around their upside-down body to keep warm. Megabats have an extra feature which helps them to hold fruit with their wings, a claw on their second finger. The spectacled flying fox gets its name from the light rings around its eyes. There's a light color around that bat's eyes. Like other flying foxes, this bat lives where it is warm all year long. A powerful flyer, it might travel as far as 20 miles to reach a favorite fruit orchard. Oh, this one is the vampire bat. Vampire bats live in Mexico, Central, and South America. The common vampire bat preys on cattle, horses, and other livestock. So that's what they eat. They eat cows, they eat horses, they eat other livestock. The hairy-legged vampire targets birds. White-winged vampires feast on mammals and birds. All bats are great flyers, but the vampire bat is also a great walker. The vampire can jump on all four legs, like a frog. It can leap straight up into the air or walk around on two legs, like a monkey. This one is doing a handstand. Most active on dark nights, a vampire bat can circle its prey unseen and land lightly on its head or back. Hopping gently on the thumbs and soles of its feet, it doesn't even wake up the cow or the chicken. A common vampire doesn't suck blood, it laps it up. Oh, that means it goes like this. With its tongue. The bat has heat-sensitive pits on its face that help it pick a choice spot to bite. So it looks for a warm place to drink the blood. Then it uses its teeth to cut a shallow wound. It presses its lower lip against the wound and it starts to lick. They drink about an ounce of blood at night. So if they drank too much, then they wouldn't be able to fly. So they only drink a little bit and then they fly away. Vampire bats are known to care for orphaned pups. So if they find a little bat that doesn't have a family to take care of it, they'll take care of it. They also feed other adults, which can be life-saving. If a vampire bat goes hungry for 2 days, it will die. Meat-eating bats have good reasons for their nocturnal schedules. When they fly out at night to hunt for insects, fish, or small animals, most of their competition is sleeping. Here is a little big-eared bat. And look what it's eating. Eating an insect. Frog calls are inaudible to us, but not to the frog-eating bats of Mexico and southern Brazil. They can follow a frog's call and catch a juicy morsel. They can also distinguish who's bite-sized and who's poisonous. They can tell just from listening to the frog if it's safe to eat. Most bats eat insects, catching their prey in their mouth or using their wings or tail membranes to scoop the insect up. Small insects are eaten on the wing. That means they eat it while they're flying. Larger ones may be eaten while the bat hangs from its roost by one foot and uses the other to hold its meal up to its mouth. Here's a bat, the little brown bat. Catching a mosquito with its wings, it can slide the bug down to its tail and flip it into its mouth. This 2-inch hunter eats half its own weight in bugs every night. Using echolocation, the fisherman bat detects a fish. The fisherman bat can catch as many as 40 fish a night. The yellow-brown pallid bat is the same color as its desert habitat. This one lives in the desert. Living in a landscape where water is scarce, it means there's not a lot of water in the desert. Pallid bats can live as long as a month on the water stored in the insects' bodies that it eats. So if it can't drink water, it'll get water from the bugs. Insect-eating bats feast on insects such as flies, mosquitoes, termites, beetles, and moths, which can carry diseases or destroy trees and crops. The millions of Mexican free-tailed bats in Bracken Cave in Texas can eat up to 250 tons of insects in one night. So they can eat a really large amount of bugs. Although some bats eat a combination of fruit and insects, others eat fruit or nectar almost exclusively, so no insects for them. Flying foxes chew and suck on fruit, swallowing the juice and spitting out the pulp. Although they get most of their nutrients from fruits, some fruit eaters have to eat a certain amount of insects for protein. Fruit eaters can also get protein from leaves. They soften the leaves in their mouth, swallow the liquid, and spit out the rest. Known as the tree of life because of its importance to other wildlife in Africa, the baobab tree depends on bats to help it pollinate. This tree, it needs bats. Baobab flowers bloom at night, attracting nectar-eating bats. Pollen comes off on their fur as they feed, and when they fly from blossom to blossom, they carry the pollen with them. Bananas, papayas, mangoes, avocados, and desert plants such as organ pipe cacti rely on bats for pollination too. So when the bats drink the nectar, it helps them to spread their pollen around. Bats are responsible for scattering up to 95% of the seeds needed for new trees in tropical rainforests. The Queensland blossom bat has bristles on the tip of its tongue to help it lap up nectar. Don't be taken in by its delicate looks. It will attack any bat that elbows in on its territory. So if another bat gets close to drink up that nectar, this bat will attack them. The place where a bat sleeps is called a roost. Some roosts are beds for only 1 or 2 bats. Some roosts are cities of thousands or even millions of bats. One popular roosting place is in caves. A lot of bats sleep in caves. Like most animals, they have to adapt to colder temperatures and limited food during winter. Some migrate south to warmer climates where food is more plentiful. Others hibernate. Some bats hibernate. They sleep for the winter until spring. The European barbastelle does both. It goes south and then it hibernates in caves. Along the walls of a cave, a bat can grasp any little nook with its claws and hang upside down. While roosting, it can turn its head right side up and look around. A bat's neck is so flexible, it can turn its head backwards. During hibernation, bats live on fat they stored during the summer. Their breathing slows down and their heart rate may drop. They may sleep for as long as 5 months without eating or drinking. Have you ever slept for 5 months? Let's see. My voice is getting a little tired, so I'm going to start just showing more pictures. Oh, here bats are hanging in an old building instead of a cave. You see that bat? If you live in Eastern Australia, you might think gray-headed flying foxes grow on trees. These are the megabats. Wow, so many different bats. These ones are little. These are little pups, baby bats. They're born with tiny teeth, it says. This is the only bat in Hawaii. And here it says, because flying foxes eat fruit crops, many are being hunted and killed. But you are not supposed to hurt them. They're protected by law. The end. Here's the back cover. Now that we read about it, what do you notice about these bats? I see that this one is hanging from a stick, so I bet that it has claws on its toes. I see that this one has really big ears, so I bet that it hears using echolocation. So it makes that sound and it listens for it to come back, and that's how it knows where it is like seeing. This one has pretty big ears and it has sharp pointy teeth. This one has some sharp teeth too. Thank you for listening. Have a good day.